I can't check online today. That might be fortunate, but welcome to our Thursday meditation. It's our last one for the Torah portion in Kitavo. And I want to talk about one line. And now, I don't think I talked about this yesterday. The irony of that is that I'm not quite positive, but I'm pretty sure I didn't. There's one certain part of the Torah portion that I think recalls almost the opposite idea of mindfulness in a way. Moses is delivering a speech to the Israelites, and he says, you know, God put you on you saw all of these incredible wonders that God did for you, right? You go through the Sea of Reeds, and you were fed in the desert, and you had incredible things that you literally saw with your own eyes. And yet, it wasn't until this day that God gave you the heart to understand, the eyes to see, or the ears to hear. It's so curious. Questions abound, right? How can you go through all of those experiences and not understand it or see it or hear it? We heard in the text observations of what they did when they did see it and they did hear it. Perhaps they didn't understand it. Maybe there were moments they understood, but they didn't see and hear. Maybe there were moments they heard, but they didn't understand or see. It's not quite sure exactly how that worked. But what's kind of fascinating about it for me and the mindfulness work that we're doing and the meditation that we do is that so much of what we talk about is being in the present, making sure that you are kind of trying to understand and see and hear and notice everything that's happening precisely at its moment. So one might say that this is the moment where God finally says, hey, you have to begin to understand exactly what's happening to you and to stay in every moment and to understand it and see it and hear it. Or it is a chastisement of you have not been present. Maybe God made it so that you weren't present, because if you were, you might not have been able to handle it or get through it. So you didn't understand how dangerous it was. You didn't see that you almost lost your life. You couldn't hear the cries of the people that were going through difficulties so that you could make it through it. Was that what God meant or wanted to happen? Is like, don't let them understand their predicament, because once they understand their predicament, then they may be afraid and they may not want to do it. So God kept us from understanding, seeing, and hearing exactly what was happening. It could be that. It could be that human nature keeps us from truly understanding what happens to us until after. Maybe it's to force us after incidences, after moments that happen to us that we may not get. Perhaps when important things have happened, to take a moment afterward to sit down and to consider what it meant, what you saw and what you heard. And that whenever incredible things happen to us, to really grasp them, we have to take a moment to afterwards to understand it, see it, and hear it. I like that lesson. I like that idea that whenever things happen to us, that we take the time afterward. And the other reason why I like it is because while we're in it, we're not reflecting on it. While we're in it, we're not trying to understand what's happening. While we're in it, we're not trying to interpret. But afterwards, then we notice. Then we take the time to interpret. Then we take the time to try to find meaning and to try to understand what actually happened. I'm sorry. Yeah, and please give me a moment and forgive me. I'm very sorry for that. Please forgive me. So what I love about it is it does support the idea that we should be in the moment, and that we will have this opportunity afterward to reflect on it, notice it, think about it. I love that idea. Like, for instance, as we sit here and do this, right, there's ideas that I'm talking about, you're hearing them, we're taking this quiet time, we're reflecting on our lives, we're trying to just be and not do, and we do all that, and then afterwards we could sit and say, was I able to do that? Right? Was my mind able to get still? Did I take the time? Did I take the time to really clean myself out of the daily grind? Was it hard? Do I understand what Rabbi Aaron was saying? I mean, there could be lots of things that afterwards we understand. Or, there could be a time later on this week where you're like, oh, that's what we were talking about the other day. I get it now. Because there are times where things happen to us and we don't quite understand them. It may be because of the context that we don't understand the meaning of it. It could be that we're just, for some reason, we don't get it at that exact time. I have something in my throat. And we don't always understand, see, and hear things when they're happening. So there's two sides of this that I really feel make it an incredibly rich line. There's the side that says, it's because you were so in it that you weren't able to understand it. And then there's the sign that says, you were oblivious to what was going on around you, and that's why you weren't able to. But in both cases, upon reflection, it is possible to discover certain things about yourself and your experience, how you felt, what you did. And you can decide for yourselves whether you approve of the way you interacted or acted when you were living your life. Okay. I feel like I haven't been leaving enough time for the quiet. I've been going to like 6:13, 6:14. It's 6:09 now. I like it to be only closer to 10 minutes than 15. So let's take a little extra time today in our quiet time. Hopefully, by the end you'll have understood what I was talking about. That was a little rabbi humor. So let's get into a comfortable position. Let's get to a place where we feel relaxed yet strong at the same time. Close our eyes and we breathe. And take in your breath. Really feel it. Try to understand what it does to your body. You can even hear it as you breathe. As you breathe, your mind's going to want to take you away and start to think about everything that's going on. With love and kindness, just bring yourself back to your breath. You can get back to those other thoughts afterward. For our last several minutes together, we call upon two feelings as we head into Shabbat and the weekend Slichot. May I feel that I belong. May I feel whole. May I feel I belong. Started using this last week and this week. It's the idea that we have a place that's ours. We feel it's ours and we're a part of it and it's a part of us. May I feel like I belong to a group of people, to a place. May I feel whole. May I feel like I belong. May I feel whole. May I feel like I belong. May I feel whole. May I feel like I belong. May I feel whole. I invite you then to just finish on your breath. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you're able to find stillness and peace. May you feel like you belong, and may you feel whole, and may you have a wonderful evening, a joyful Shabbat, a reflective Slichot, and a fantastic weekend. We'll see you next week.